Merck making a major announcement today. It named Kenneth C. Frazier as Chief Executive Officer effective January 1st. Frazier is currently president of the company. He played a key role during Merck's legal defense against thousands of claims that its Vioxx painkiller caused heart attacks and strokes. Joining me now to discuss the challenges ahead for Mr. Frazier is Christopher Bowe, U.S. healthcare analyst at Informa Plc. Sir, welcome to Bloomberg. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Before we get into his challenges, he's had some challenges in his life. Tell us about Kenneth Frazier.
Ken is a very inspiring character, actually. He came from Philadelphia. His father was a janitor. His father was the son of a sharecropper in South Carolina and moved away from home at 15 years old. And as he described it, around the dinner and breakfast table, talked about education and making a better future and instilled the values. And Ken went out and got a degree at Penn State and then Harvard Law School, and now he's the head of a Dow 30 company. It's a really inspiring story.
Now, part of his rise came about because he led Merck's legal team in its defense of Vioxx. How might that have prepared him to take on this new role?
Well, it's an interesting question because that's a very discreet role in running a pharmaceutical company. I will say this, is that Ken's strategy for defending the Vioxx lawsuits is generally regarded as a proactive and aggressive strategy, using a lot of communication. And so that strategy alone shows you that he's a upfront leader. He's very engaging and charismatic. And so the challenges and the hurdles of defending such a mountain as the Vioxx lawsuits Ken's up for a fight, and he's climbed the hills before.
What's it going to take for him to be, as you called him, a transformative CEO, and how long might that take?
Well, it's a good. That is the ultimate question for Ken. Is he a transformative CEO? Although his rise to CEO has been pretty much telegraphed for the last 3 years after the departure of Peter Lozier. He became head of global human health, which at Merck is the pharmaceutical business. Yeah. It's everything. Given that, there's going to be some questions about whether he has enough operational experience. Being a lawyer doesn't mean that you know how the ins and outs and workings of running or managing certain aspects of the pharmaceutical business, but he's spent 3 years doing that.
But if he is the type of man as you described, then that means he is willing to delegate and willing to ask questions if he doesn't know the answers.
Yeah, indeed. And there's also a lot of questions about what is a modern pharmaceutical CEO. So is operational experience everything?
What do you think it is?
Well, I think the first thing is that you have to say no to the status quo, and that is not an easy task in these companies.
Especially when that status quo is as entrenched as it might be in the pharmaceutical industry.
It's the golden goose, and so there's a lot of changes coming. The market is getting harder. Payers are they're under intense budgetary pressures. They're demanding more value for their money.
And then there's the healthcare overhaul.
That's part of it. With the government being a bigger payer or more involved in healthcare spending, eventually they're going to want value for money. So the question is what it takes to be a CEO. It takes, I think ultimately it's going to be someone who doesn't say yes to the status quo and makes hard choices about the business model going forward.
How tough is it going to be for Mr. Frazier to streamline this corporate culture?
Well, that's the track they're on. That's what they're trying to do right now as part of the Shearing Plow acquisition.
But still provide good services, but be leaner and meaner in these times?
That, and I think change the operating culture and how it works. Perhaps break silos. Maybe business units is what Mr. Frazier would prefer to streamline this. In any regard, if you read the press release today, all of it is pretty much backslapping, except one a very important paragraph where he talks about adapting the model and making it a transformation that will lead the industry. That is not clear that they're on that path right now.
And he did say today the pillar of our strategy will remain innovation, emerging markets as a subset of that innovation strategy.
Yeah, that's indicative of the overarching Merck strategy and what their model is. They believe that scientific advances, high-value products that differentiated will command premium pricing. So they're going for not a distribution model, but a high science model.
Could I ask you quickly in about 15 seconds? Sure. He's the second general counsel recently in the industry to be named CEO. What's that all about?
Well, Ken said a long time ago that there was no aspect of the pharmaceutical industry that some sort of legal or regulatory aspect or issue didn't come involved, so he was actively involved in all of the things in a modern pharma business. Yeah. But it is a question. I mean, what kind of person deserves to be or should be running these companies? I don't think if you would have asked somebody in the pharma business 30 years ago if it was going to be a lawyer running a company, they'd say no way.
Christopher Bowe of Informa joining us on set. Thanks. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. Sure.